So let me open. Okay, so here, those were the exams. We talked about practice problems. Let me open Mastering Chemistry for you here. So I've got instructions for it at the back of the syllabus. I also, in this post right here in the news, the Welcome to Chem 1020 post, I have links here. I have a link to Mastering Chemistry. That's another link that you should bookmark on your computer. Just masteringchemistry.com. Okay. When I open this, you should be able to just kind of follow the directions here to register. You'll register as a student, but you do have to get yourself registered in here. Okay, and they've laid it out pretty nicely for you. You need your email address. It would be best if you used your school email address. Okay, so go to the Anoka Ramsey webpage, go to email on there. That'll tell you what your school email address is and help you get logged into that. So I would use that just so everything's all together. Okay. You need a course ID and you need an access code. So the course ID is something that I give you, and I've put that in as many places as I can. There'll still be some of you that need help finding it, I think, but I've tried to get it as many places as I can. Look on page 10. Page 9 and 10 are the step-by-step Mastering Chemistry registration, and then page 10 has the course ID that you'll need. That's that MC ASPAS 13499. Okay. So I also have that. Where is it? Here. Bright space. Go right here. Okay. I also have that same access code here. So you will have to put that in during the registration process so that the system knows which class you're in, so you get the right assignments. Okay. Most of the problems students have with that is mistyping that. Okay. So it's probably easiest to get it just right from here. You can copy it. Right. You can select it and right-click and copy it and paste it right in where it asks for it. Be careful with how you spell ASPAS. It's a dangerous zone with all the A's and the S's. It's an unusual Norwegian last name. Aspas is how it's pronounced. By the way, you can feel free to call me. I forgot my whole introductions at the start. You can feel free to call me Andy. That's usually what I go by. My email address, it's in the syllabus, but it's andrew.aspas@anokaramsey.edu. So it's totally great with me if you call me Andy. That's what I'm used to. Some people can't quite get over that calling their professors by the first name thing. So you can call me Mr. Aspas or Professor Aspas, okay, as well. I'm pretty loose with that. That's not a big deal to me. So whatever's comfortable for you is cool. But you need, here we go. So you need your course ID, and then you need that access code from the thing in your book that we talked about, or if you get the access code from online, or otherwise you'll need that. Okay. So you can go through that process, get yourself registered. Once you're logged in, here, let me log myself in so you can see what it looks like. You get to pick your own username and password. A lot of students, oops, there you go. A lot of students set their login and password for Mastering Chemistry as the same as you use to get into D2L Brightspace. So keep those consistent. Okay? That's helpful for a lot of students, but you can put them to be whatever you want them to be. Okay? So assignments view is helpful because it just sort of gives you a list of assignments, but it puts them on the calendar too, so you can see what everything is. Okay, so your first assignment is an introduction to Mastering Chemistry that's due on 9/2/15. That is next week sometime. It's our calendar here. September 2 is a week from Wednesday. All of our assignments are due at 11:59 p.m. And I do that so that you don't confuse midnight with noon and get the date wrong and stuff like that. So 11:59 p.m. on a certain date, everybody knows exactly when that will be. So they're typically going to be due on an 11:59 on a day before class. So several of them are due on Monday nights. A couple will be due on Wednesday nights, just the way the calendar works. So your first one will be due a week from Wednesday night. Okay. Then the intro assignment is something that you probably shouldn't have too much trouble with. It just gets you acquainted with the Mastering Chemistry system, shows you how to enter answers. I'll let you work through that, but one thing I will show you is that several of the problems that we do inside of Mastering Chemistry will have this hints button right here. It is to your advantage to make use of those hints, unless you totally know how to do the problem. Okay? But if you have any question about it, okay, click those hints. Okay? Sometimes it'll just be one, sometimes it'll be a whole list of several things. Okay? When you open a hint, sometimes it just tells you something. Sometimes it actually asks you bite-sized questions, okay, that work from a very introductory point and asks you questions that go step by step all the way to the problem that you're doing. Okay, and it's very useful. The only thing you need to know whenever you click to open a hint, if it asks you questions, then those questions that you're doing are for credit. So you need to make your way through those. Okay, but otherwise, the hints are an excellent resource. Now, if it happens to be a question that you already know exactly how to do it, and if you can enter the answer without using the hints, I think you get a small bonus for that. Maybe it's pretty minor, 1 or 1.5% or something like that. Okay? But typically, it is to your advantage to make use of those hints. The system, I think, works with 6 attempts per blank, okay, per submit. So if you put something totally wrong there, okay, that's what you'll get. It'll say, try again, you have 5 attempts remaining. Okay? And each incorrect attempt lowers the score just a little bit on that part of the question. Okay? So you don't want to just be wasting your attempts, in other words. But use those hints. Make use of them. There's no penalty for hints as long as you actually complete the ones that you open. Okay? Small bonus if you don't need to use a hint, but definitely take advantage of them. The hint system, that's probably the main reason why we use this particular system for online homework. Okay? And students tend to find that very, very useful. Each question or problem, I suppose, will usually have like a part A, a part B, a part C. Anytime you hit a submit, that's in the system. It's in there already. So there's no extra save, and there's no extra like big submit that you have to do at the end. So you can close it and reopen it as many times as you want, as long as you've submitted the things that you want to submit. Okay? Don't save it just until the couple hours before it's due. Okay, be working on it consistently throughout the entire assigned period. Do one a day or something like that. Okay, no timers or anything like that. It's designed for learning, for helping you get up to speed. Okay, you can work with each other on these if you want. There is some people ask about this. There is a way to print them. You have to go to Print View up here in the upper right. Okay. And then there's a way to print it. I know some people like to print out the assignments and then take them so you can take them with you and work on them. Or even if you're working it on the computer, some students like to have the printout just to be able to scribble on, to have all the stuff there too. Okay? So that's available. One thing to be careful of on some questions, Part B only shows up after you've finished Part A. So obviously those wouldn't show up as you've printed, but you can sort of see that as you go. Okay. Anybody have any questions about mastering chemistry? I think I hit all the major plot points there. So I need you to get into mastering chemistry. Get yourself registered in there as soon as possible. Okay? Don't save that for just right before that assignment, because if you have some kind of weird problem, then you're in trouble as that due date is approaching. So do that right away this week at some point. You probably should not have any trouble with that intro assignment. The thing I forgot to say, that intro assignment, it says it in the notes on that intro assignment too, but that's just designed for you to play around with. Okay? It shows you different question types, shows you how it works. So deliberately get questions wrong on that so it shows you what to do. You will get full credit for that intro assignment as long as you've attempted each type. Okay? So. And then your score for that assignment will show up at the very bottom of the list of questions for that assignment too, so you can see that. Okay. So, yeah, that's the first sort of assignment that you need to be doing for in here. I think that's pretty good. Let's talk discussions. Let me go back in here. Here we are in Brightspace again. If you go to, let me do student view again. If you go to communications and discussions, okay, there's a pretty extensive discussion board system in here that I want you to make really good use of. So the general questions that you have about where you find something, or you're not seeing something that you should, or you're confused on how to get somewhere, just something that has to do with how the course operates, not necessarily chemistry related, but course related. Okay? Post that kind of stuff in here. And I get an immediate beep or whatever when something posts something in there. So I'm ready right away to help out if something happens in there. Okay? One of the first things I'd like you to do, I haven't posted mine yet. I'll do that today. I want you to go in this introduce yourself and just say a little something about yourself so that we can get to know each other just a little bit. So maybe what your background is, or if you have a career goal, or if you got something interesting to say. You don't need to tell us your whole life story, but if you got something interesting you want to share, that's always fun, and I like to read through those and respond to them too. So I want you to do that within this week, and we'll get a list together. We'll get a little to-do list together of things to do, and that'll be on it. Okay, but mainly what I wanted to show you here was our list of chemistry content discussions, and it says in the syllabus, but we have a discussion requirement in this class for 10 points. At the end of the semester, you're required to average 1 post per chapter in the chemistry content discussions. Okay? And that could be a question. If something is confusing to you from the lecture or the textbook, okay, or if you're having trouble with something in the Mastering Chemistry in the homework assignment, okay, anything like that counts. So that can count as a post. If you're answering somebody's question or helping somebody out or providing anything useful towards helping somebody out, okay, that counts. If it's a homework question, if it's a Mastering Chemistry question, don't just tell them the answer. That's not useful to anybody's learning. Okay, give somebody a hint or a step in the right direction or something like that. If somebody just blatantly posts answers, I'll remove those. But we usually don't have problems with that. You guys get it that those homework assignments are for credit, and just posting the answers isn't actually productive. Okay, so you can post a question, you can help somebody out, or if you don't have a question or if you don't have something to offer for somebody else, post something that you think others will find useful. Okay? If you figured out a way to do something that works for you, or if you have a different way of explaining something, or if you saw a video, or if you saw somebody else had a different way of explaining something. Okay? Okay? So we'll count anything that your classmates would find useful to the content of that chapter. Does that make sense? I think that's a pretty easy standard to meet in there. Okay? And then I say you need to average 1 post per chapter. So if you're totally great on chapter 3 or whatever, you could do 2 in chapter 4. Okay? That's not a big deal. Try not to get too far away from 1 per chapter. Okay? But if you get a couple extras in one and fewer and none in the next or something, then you'll still be good. Okay? I'll probably look at that a couple of times through the semester just to make sure that nobody is trying to get all their posts in just during finals week, okay, to get full credit for it. Okay? But I don't have hard due dates for that. So if you're making any kind of attempt at keeping up with us as we go through the class, you will have no trouble getting your full 10 points for those discussions. Okay? And I'll try to have a couple more reminders throughout the semester to keep using that. I will monitor and participate in these very, very frequently, at least in the first month or so, in the first couple of weeks in here. But usually there's a point where it becomes self-sustaining, where if somebody asks a question, somebody else would get to it and offer something up faster than I would even be able to. Okay? So make use of that if you got questions, if something's confusing to you or you got something to offer for the chemistry. That frees up my email a little bit. And not like I don't like communicating with students, but if I get the same question in my email 20 times from 20 different students, then that's not efficient for anybody. So have discussions, have good input and feedback, help each other out within those discussion boards. Feel free absolutely to email me if you've got something that pertains to you in particular. Okay? If you've got a scheduling issue or a question about your grade or a question about one of your particular assignments or something like that. Okay? Email me right away and I'll get back to you pretty quick. Okay? But if it's just a question about the chemistry, post it up there because other people will have that same question and you can all help each other out with it. It's a mutually beneficial arrangement. Okay, that's all in there. We talked about exams. You can read about accommodations and academic dishonesty. We talked a little bit about studying skills, but your time management, your organization, all things like that will be real critical to this. I highly recommend that you set aside a certain amount of time each day or every other day or something regular like that works for you and have that be chemistry time. So time to read, time to practice, time to work on assignments and stuff and make it a consistent part of your routine rather than trying to cram it all in before an exam or an assignment is due, and you'll have a lot better luck that way. Okay? So I won't go into any more detail on that. You can read through that on your own. Definitely come visit me or even post about it up in those course discussions, okay, if you've got questions about other stuff like that. But does anybody have questions right away? If not, get out if you have your notes packet, that's the one with the yellow page, get that out. Take a look at the first page. By the way, I'll just tell you, the front page of that notes packet has a periodic table, something we're looking at all the time, of course, some names of ions that we'll have to learn at some point. The inside cover has information that we will be referring to very commonly. The stuff on the inside cover, those are things that will be provided for you on exams. Okay? So those are things that you don't need to memorize. English to metric stuff, those will all be provided for you, but we'll have plenty of practice using them, learning how to do conversions and stuff like that. Okay? The stuff that's on the front cover, the names and formulas of those ions, those are things that we will have to memorize at some point. So don't have to quite worry about those just yet, but be aware that there will be some memorizing that we'll have to do. Okay? So if you got the note packet, though, look at the first page. It should be something like this. It should be our little summary here. We talked about access codes, mastering chemistry assignments. Our schedule is a little less regular. Sometimes I have assignments due like every Friday or something like that. So maybe cross out the every, let's say some Mondays and Wednesdays. Okay. So. Also, my little system here works pretty nice in a big room like this. I'm writing on this tablet PC, and you'll get to see what I'm writing. You also notice I got a little microphone. I do recordings. So on next time at the start of class, I'll show you in D2L where those recordings go. You'll probably be able to find them in content, but I record the classes too for you to look back on if you need to review something. Okay. So, all right, go find it. Take a look back in our calendar. What day did we say the intro assignment in Mastering Chemistry was due? September 2nd? That was a Wednesday, right? Next Wednesday, okay? All right, that looks good. D2L or Brightspace, introduce yourself in the discussions. Try to get that done this week. I'll put mine up this afternoon so you can read a little bit about me. Okay? In your textbook, read Chapter 1. Start reading the first couple of sections of Chapter 2 next time. Okay? We're going to talk about, we're going to do a little bit from Chapter 1, but then we're going to start right out in Chapter 2 next time. So read a little bit into Chapter 2 just so you have some familiarity with it. Your first lab assignment, we're meeting in lab this week. Okay? It is, let's see here, safety and intro this week in lab. But I do want you to write that there are pre-lab, let me get a grid here, pre-lab assignments. For experiment 1 next week. Okay. We will talk during lab exactly what it is that you need to do. Okay. But I wanted to have it here in writing. There are things that you will need to do outside of class, okay, to prepare for experiment 1, okay, before lab next week. Okay. So be ready for that, but in lab that should be totally clear. Okay. All right. So everybody clear now on what our immediate duties are? Anybody have questions? Got you a little to-do list here. Okay. Well, sometimes I go through and I write the things, but we just sort of looked through the syllabus. If you wanna, maybe this will be a nice place as you're going through reading the syllabus on your own. Go through, make some notes of the important parts from each of these, so you'll have a place, so you have a little quick reference to look back, okay, at what the important policy points and things are from those points in the syllabus. So that would be a great thing for you to do on your own.